It is Off the Top Rope Wednesday night live on the CEV Sports Podcast Network with your boy Ty Asbury. And I definitely have to say this Battle Arts Academy. I hope you can say, hey Ty, my brother, job well done. And when I mean job well done, coming up live on Off the Top Rope, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to watch the best wrestling podcast around with some sizzle, it is Off the Top Rope. Yeah. It's Wednesday night, of course, and you know what's going down. This is your boy Ty Asbury live with Off the Top Rope. And this lady that is on my show, she's definitely going to leave her mark. Of course, Crimson Style from Battle Arts Academy, the one, the only, Amy Crimson is
What's
live.
up?
Amy, how you doing this evening?
I'm
What's
good.
up?
My voice is shot because I'm a personal trainer, so I've been screaming all day. But honestly, thank you. It's a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I mean, we've been talking nonstop about getting the show together, and I mean, you got school, work, wrestling. It just goes on and on and on. So how do you have a life without doing all those things?
That's the thing. It's basically my life. Um, it's basically just like I try to make myself busy. I don't like to be like not doing anything. So the fact that I'm so busy, it makes me feel like I'm doing something kind of thing. Because I don't like to just sit around and do nothing. Like I always like to be moving. I like to always do something. So wrestling and like work and school, it just all intertwines. And then as well working out in between, like that's just me. I just like to be busy.
Now, I really want to ask you a lot of questions because I mean, you do fitness, you train, like you say, yelling at people. That's what you do. Now, for you, off the bat, I'm just going to ask you right off the bat, pretty much. Um, is there such a thing to like really find new workouts that you find and add it into being a wrestler, or there's like really no such thing of doing that?
So I actually started working at an F45 like 4 months ago. And usually I would be just weight training and not really doing that much cardio. But what I find is that HIIT and functional training coincide with pro wrestling training as well, because you have your tuck jumps and you have your elevations and you have all these jumps, burpees, and all that stuff. It basically HIIT training, I find, is better training for me in my aspect of getting back into ring shape and like basically getting into shape for the ring. It's just overall, I'm not promoting my workplace or whatever, but the thing is that HIIT training and functional training I find works more well with wrestling training. It's kind of like the same thing in my opinion. There could be other opinions, but don't quote me on that. But that's how I feel.
Now, for me personally, I've experienced doing burpees. I do them when I can, when I work out. And if there's someone who wants to, get better cardio in wrestling and just wants to, have better cardio in the ring, like what would you tell them about, hey, like what about burpees helps someone in the ring?
Well, the thing is that it's just not about the burpees. It's not about the exercise. What I find is helps you in the ring, and what helps you with your cardio is getting your heart rate up. So what I realized working at an F45 is that it doesn't matter how much rigorous activity you do. It matters of how much your heart rate goes up. So the more your heart rate goes up, the more exercise you're getting, the more your body's sweating, the more your body's moving, kind of thing. So that depends on how much calories you burn. So the burpees, yes, they're terrible. Everyone hates burpees, but they are crucial to like basically helping you in the ring because there's a lot of things that involve burpees when you're in the ring. So burpees are number one, and then also a lot of cardio and strength training because you need to have endurance and you need to have that stamina to like last in the ring, especially if you're going for an hour.
Yeah, and even thinking about burpees and wrestling for an hour, it's definitely well. I mean, you are Amy Crimson for a reason because that's what you do. Just a workaholic, and like that's why I think fans, people just love you because, like you said earlier, you can't sit around. You have to do everything. I would think in life as a wrestler, I would think it's really no time off because you're always just want to go working out
Yeah.
match. So it's like nonstop.
Well, the thing is for wrestling, it's just there's so much to it. It's not just being a wrestler. It's like promoting yourself. It's building your own brand because Amy Crimson is my brand. It's literally me, amped up to 10,000. So it's like I have to build my brand. I have to promote myself. I have to make a name for myself. I have to figure out, okay, new merch, basically new gear. And I have to think about, okay, what is my next thing that I'm going to do? Like basically I have to do my research about the people that I face and stuff like that. It's just different stuff like that, and then as well as I have to look about my appearance and basically make sure that I work out and that I look good for when I wrestle and like stuff like that. It's just it's an overall like some people like it, some people don't. I find it's what I always wanted to do. I've always wanted to do this since I was 8, so I'm hardworking and like I just want to try and promote myself as much as possible and make a brand and make Amy Crimson like well known. That's the goal.
Well, I mean, you are well known. I mean, like I said, I know, got my notes here, definitely doing your thing. You'll come from Canada, all over the place. And that's why I want to talk about more in the show. You said the key thing, promoting yourself. And I want to ask you later on what areas of the world that you want to, you want to compete in. And that's like getting yourself out there. Pretty much, I would think traveling and wrestling is like networking, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah. So, like, it's just a lot of networking, which you're on the right path. And you mentioned that coming up with wrestling gear and everything. Now, I see so many cool wrestlers with attire, and like if you vision your outfits that you wear
Yeah.
to the ring, like do you have to write it down, or you could just think like, oh, there it is, but you have to be like a pen to the paper person.
I'm the type of person where I imagine it. I'm not a person where I draw it kind of thing. And I feel like if I draw it, I'm just gonna change it up later on. So like I'm just like I think about it and like I think about the colors and like what I think. So like whoever knows me, I'm from the streets of Malton. Your average girl. Your average girl with a little hood. And honestly, like I just every single time I think of my gear, I think of okay, let's think. I like basketball kind of thing. I like sporty stuff. I'm not your average girly girl. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make gear that looks like kind of like a jersey, but with a little bit of a little sparkle to it. So I added a little bit of sparkle to my pants and a little sparkle to my top. So I wanted to look like a girl, but I'm not as a girly girl. But it's still a little average with a little hood. So that's what I thought about when I was making my gear. And then it has the numbers and it has my name on it. I haven't shown my gear yet. I haven't wrestled in it actually. But when I come back to the ring, hopefully I can use the gear as soon as possible. So that's the goal.
Well, I'm looking forward to that when you do that because we all want to see around the world what Amy Crimson is definitely going to bring about for our fans. Because I know I'm pretty sure I can tell you're the type of talent that you want fans to be like, "What's Amy going to do next?" And I think that's the part about having a kick-ass character in wrestling. Because I think it seems like wrestling fans they can get bored like just like that, so they want something new and fresh.
Well, the thing is that I've always my whole life. So I kind of have an idea of what wrestling fans are like. So I know that if you're not fresh, new, and exciting, they'll just toss you to the side and be like, okay, on to the next one. But the thing is that because I'm so fan oriented and I know that I care about my fans and I don't like basically throw them to the side, I want to keep them like wanting more and kind of like keep them intrigued with me. I'm basically trying to change it up as much as I can. Like, obviously, I'm not going to change it up every month, but if feel like it's starting to get stale and I feel like I'm getting a little bored, because even as a wrestler, sometimes when you have a personality and it's your that personality all the time and you have wrestling and you basically do match, it gets boring and it gets tiring and rigorous. And sometimes you get bored even when you're a wrestler. So, if I could make the fans interested in me every single time I walk out that ramp, then I'm doing something right. So that's the goal.
And yeah, and I think maybe some wrestlers do. They just figure, well, they started liking this 10 years ago. It's going to work 10 years looking ahead. And I really like what you said. That doesn't work all the time because I don't know if it's the whole. And you could probably answer this question better than I can. If social media
Yeah.
has hurt wrestling because fans are always. It's like, what do you think about the whole social media thing with fans and wrestling? Is it good or is it bad?
I find social media kind of kills the business because it basically takes away kayfabe and basically takes away from basically just from real life and from wrestling. I find that I don't like to put my personal life into my business, so I don't put business and pleasure together. I kind of just keep it wrestling and then my personal life separate. So the thing is that I have my own Instagram for my wrestling page and I have my own personal life, and my personal life is private and my wrestling page is open. So it basically doesn't mix the two. The only thing that I want fans to know is my wrestling. I don't want them to know my personal life kind of thing. So that's where I find that social media kind of kills kind of the business now because they're basically going into backstage and they're basically seeing the lives of wrestlers that they see on TV, and then they try and compare, oh well this person did this, but they do this on TV kind of. So I just find it just before social media, the business was more protected. I just find it's too open now. That, mind you, it's awesome. The wrestling business is like booming. We have so many promotions and stuff. But I just feel like without social media, it would be more protected and it wouldn't be so open kind of thing. But that's just
Yeah.
my.
I mean, I think you're absolutely right too. I mean, it's just I've noticed a lot that fans complain about this match, this person. I really think just enjoy the fact that wrestling's here, and like you said, there's so many promotions out there. Just enjoy WWE, AEW. Everybody brings something different to the table, and I'm sure promotions you've done, they bring everything different to the table, and people just. I just think people they're not satisfied, so they find something to
Well, it's me. Okay, have you ever heard the saying of you want to have your cake and eat it too? Fans want to know what wrestlers do on their personal life, but then when they find out that it's not that interesting, then they kind of like basically go, okay, well, this person's not that interesting than I thought. And it just ruins the mystery of who that person is as like a wrestler. That's what I just find. That's why I like to keep my private life private and my wrestling life a different kind of like two kind of people. So I'm two people. I play two people in life.
well, pretty much, there's nothing wrong keeping your life on the download and the DL, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I buy, just researching everything about you.
Yeah.
You're definitely moving up and up and up. Probably, what would you say be one thing that you've gotten better at? Could be, in the ring, talking on the mic. What are you really proud of up until this point tonight, where we're talking that you really improved in wrestling? That you're really like striving in.
Um, just my confidence, to be honest. When I first started, I was always this shy, like low speaking girl that barely talked to anybody. So as the years went by, I've been doing this for 4 years now. I noticed that my talk, like my speaking on the mic and like my promos and like just my character overall, my confidence in the ring, just it skyrocketed. And I believe it was after I main evented Revolution with Allison Kay, Casey Spinelli, and Rebel. It's because before going into that match, I wasn't as confident as you would think. Like I was one of the vets at the time at Battle Arts. Um, but I didn't feel like a vet. I didn't feel like I was like as good as I wanted to be. So as the years progress now, like now I'm like full on like one of the vets at Battle Arts Academy, like the women's wrestlers. And now I noticed that like I'm basically talking to the newer talent and like they're asking me questions and messaging me and saying, "Hey, what can I do to do this?" It just shows how much I've grown over the years, and basically to show that my confidence has skyrocketed because now people are asking me for advice when I was in the same position 4 years ago. So it's just an amazing experience kind of thing to see how much growth I've had in the past 4 years.
And pretty much like what you just said too, it seems like in wrestling, there's like you said earlier on the show, there's so much going on. And one thing I've always definitely wanted to ask a wrestler to talk to a talent about taking criticism. I mean, people can take it or they can't. Now, for you being in the business for a
Yeah.
long time now, if I'm sure if somebody in wrestling can't take criticism, would be the best thing for them to get out of it because I mean it's you learn like every day. Like if
Um, I would have to say like with the criticism, you take it with a grain of salt. You basically, if it's knowledgeable, you obtain it. If it's not so knowledgeable and it's just a little thing, you basically say, okay, you be polite. You say, okay, thank you for criticism that you gave me. I'll make sure that whatever happens, like, okay. But for sure, if you can't take criticism in this business, there's no way that you're going to be 100% the best. And there's always going to be something that you have to work on. So if you can't take criticism, wrestling, I feel like, isn't the best option for you. Like, no hate to anyone, but sometimes it's a hard business. There's a lot of people to please, and if you can't take criticism, like you should be like literally listening and just opening your eyes and trying to gain as much knowledge as possible, because without that you're never going to get better, because there's always going to be somebody that's going to tell you, hey, you did this great, but you got to work on this. Next time you do a match, you got to work on this kind of thing. So I've always known that obviously there's good criticism and then there's bad criticism, and like I said before, you take it with a grain of salt and then you move along with your day and you try to improve. But the only thing is, if you're not improving, then that's a problem. Then you're just being stubborn and not listening to whatever criticism you have, because criticism is good, because then you know if you're doing good in your matches, if your promos are good, if your character needs work. Like, without that stuff, how are you going to improve? That's how I feel.
well, speaking of, we were talking about things improving. My guest tonight here on Off the Top Rope, Amy, of course, Crimson. She definitely has improved my show by being on the show tonight. So I want to thank her for being on the show tonight. And as always, I got the comment section up here. If you want to, ask her any questions about who she's gonna beat up next or do whatever. Hey, just a little box up there. Definitely, we do it live as live can be here on Off the Top Rope. Now, you definitely being based, which I think is probably one of the coolest places for wrestling. I want to travel there in good old Canada. There's so much, going on in Canada. I mean, of course, yourself, the Hart family, we could be all night. For you, as far as how the wrestling scene is for a wrestler in Canada, like we're getting into the time of winter time, which is some people love, some people don't. But is the Canada wrestling scene, is it one way in the summer, which just passed, and one way in the winter, or it really just doesn't matter?
In Canada, you got seasons. So you got spring, you got fall, you got winter, and you got like three. So the times that it's in winter, you're cold, you're freezing. So there's like, basically, we sometimes you don't have shows outside. Majority of the shows on the indies in Canada, the only time we have shows outside is in the summertime because it gets super hot. In the wintertime, you better hope that the venue's inside, because you're gonna be freezing your yeah, you're gonna be freezing because it's gonna be minus 40 or more. So the thing is, it depends. It's fun wrestling in Canada because we have so much great talent. Like, we have so many like different promotions and stuff and different indie like scenes that it's just a great experience. Um, Honestly, the goal is to wrestle in as many promotions in Canada first, and then move along to like different countries and wrestle.
Well, is there one promotion that right now you would say that for people who are already in Canada, want to travel to Canada, is there one promotion right now that you'll let everybody know, hey, this is the place to go see a really good show at?
Honestly, anything from Battle Arts. I'm not trying to promote Battle Arts, but Battle Arts at the Don Coloff Arena has so many shows in 1 month that it's not even funny. We have HWE, we have Revolution, we have Destiny, we have so many. We have Battle Arts Pro, and we have like Impact that comes to Battle Arts Academy sometimes to tape. So, honestly, there's so many. There's like Super Kick. There's Smash Wrestling. There's just so many promotions. There's Junction. There's I believe Crossbody. There's so that are from Canada. I can't even name all of them because I would be here all night, kind of thing. But if honestly, if you are wanting to come to Canada, like always come to Toronto or even Calgary. Like Calgary is huge on wrestling. But mostly just go to the cities that are major in wrestling. So like Toronto, Calgary, Montreal. There's a lot of schools there too as well. So there's a lot of wrestling based because of the greats, like the wrestling greats from Canada. So we've been blessed with that.
Definitely be blessed. And like I said, like I said, you're definitely making your name in that really huge, of course, big shell of greatest wrestlers to ever be in Canada, of course. Now, I got to say, you said before we went live, you were, getting dinner and eating. Now, for me, who doesn't like to eat? I'm greedy. I'll admit that. Best place to eat before attending a wrestling show in Canada. I'm gonna say Toronto because I've always wanted to go to Toronto. Best food in Toronto because I'm getting hungry right now. But best place to
Uh,
get before a show.
So usually all the guys and girls will like literally sometimes order a pizza from Massimo. Like it's like a little pizza joint from it's like across the street from our training facility. Or we usually go to Boston Pizza. It's like a good place to eat. Um, I don't usually eat that much junk food as much. I don't eat that much out. But if there's a restaurant, like mainly just like Boston Pizza or like one of those major chain restaurants kind of thing. That's just what we do.
I'm definitely gonna make a note of that because someday I'm going to be coming to Canada just to see the overall wrestling history up there. And it's just when I saw it, you're in of course Canada, I was like, man, God bless you. Lot of great things, from yesterday, today, and the
Mhm.
future for good old Canada and wrestling. Now, as far as wrestling, and there's always, I'm sure you're always thinking about matches.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it could have been last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Who's that one person that you always have a great match with, and you're just like, damn, it's just like it's just always like sizzling with them. Who would that be? That one person be
Um,
wrestling? And they
see,
probably
there's a couple. There's a couple. So, there's two that I have in mind. It was Nessa Love. I think she goes by Aurora now. But there was a time where we had two matches, I believe, and there was just so much chemistry. Like it flowed well, it went well, people liked it, and it was a good match because that was the one where I won the title from with her. So that was a good match. And then the other person that I have good chemistry with is Bianca Corelli, Anthony Corelli's daughter, so Santino Marella's daughter. We only had one match, sadly, due to COVID. But it was a really good match. The chemistry was there. We worked well together. And if say I go to the States because she's training in the States now, I would love to have another match with Bianca Curley because she's really good at what she does. So
now we got to flip the switch. Now, if there's one person out there you never faced before, if they come out and they get on the mic and they say, "Amy Crimson, I want to wrestle you this Sunday at whatever," somebody you've never faced before, never. Who would that be? That's like, man, like that person's on my radar.
I would love to like I met Masha Slamovich, but I would love to have a match with her on the indies. Hopefully one day we'll cross paths again. Even Allison Kay, like I would love to have. I had like a tag team match with her where I was her tag partner, but I never had a singles match. I feel like I could learn so much from her, as well as if I had a singles match with Rebel or Casey Spinelli, like that would be awesome. Like I would love to have a singles match with any of them because I feel like they would give me so much knowledge that I can take with me after. So yeah, those are the couple people I would want to have a match with.
Now on the show, I'm gonna pull up a clip here, and I think it's badass. And I'll pull this clip up, and you say it. I'm just going to just ask you the question after the clip. So I want to go to this clip, and definitely badass right there. You know, with the strap, and it's a in the spotlight. I pretty much can say now. You having the strap, of course, for Battle Arts Academy. What do you think when you had the belt that you were pretty much? How did you stand out from the rest? Like, what did you do differently than you think from previous champions?
Um, no hate to the previous champion or whatever. What she did was awesome. She deserved it. She had a long tenure at Battle Arts. I just feel like the reason why I deserved the championship was because I was there from 3 p.m. to 12 at night when everyone else would be not there. I'd be there training. I'd literally be working out in the ring for 6 hours a day, then do a judo class to basically help with my stance and like my in ring work. And then after that, I would be like in the class for 2 hours in wrestling practice. And then after wrestling practice, stay there for another 3 hours just practicing whatever I learned, kind of thing. So basically, I tried to perfect my craft as much as I could and tried to build my brand as much as I could, even though I was starting out and I was green and I was only a year and I think a year and a half in when I won the title. It was just something that made me feel like whatever the hard work I was doing made me feel accomplished. So like I was just always working and I'm like always a hard worker and like I still don't stop. So I mean, I just strive for more, I guess. So that's why I feel like I deserve the title, and that's why I was given the basically the torch to run with the women's division.
Well, I definitely love that confidence because you said, pretty much no disrespect, but I did this better. And I mean, it's all about confidence. And then Amy Crimson has that, and the shirts just say like, "I never stop," and that's a really cool thing. But the one thing, this is from the heart, I really respect that you're doing is that wrestling is your love 24/7, no
Yeah.
doubt about it. But you're also going to school, and I think that you doing that is kind of like that. Maybe you never know, has something to fall back on, and then like like when it came to school. When did you realize that, or was that something that pretty much was always there when you started wrestling? Was keep school in that like center?
Well, the thing is, my mindset was that I never really wanted to go to school. I just wanted to do wrestling. And when I first started, wrestling was all I had. So that's why I basically was there, the first person there to the last person leaving, because that's all I had. That's all I had to fall back on. So I couldn't fail at that. So I wanted to be the best woman in that locker room kind of thing. The pandemic kind of changed my mindset because wrestling was just taken away just like that. We weren't able to train, we weren't able to do anything kind of thing for a really good time. So it kind of changed my mindset that it made me feel like, what if one day wrestling's taken away due to an injury or something happens and I don't have anything to fall back on? So I ended up deciding to get my PT and nutritionist certification and working with kids so that I could basically work as a personal trainer. So due to the pandemic, I ended up getting a job as a personal trainer and hopefully later on as a nutritionist to fall back on. Even when I retire, like that's something that I would actually just want to do after wrestling, like either open up my own wrestling gym and like have like personal trainers and stuff. So it was like not the first idea, but after the pandemic, it was like an idea that, okay, maybe I need to have something to fall back on just in case.
Well, it's being smart and it's just fulfilling your dreams. Like outside of wrestling, you just love fitness, and that's just awesome. And just taking care of yourself. Now, I really respect what you're doing, and
Thank you.
I'm definitely proud of you for doing what you're doing. Now, I'm sure you want to wrestle everywhere. Amy Crimson wants to leave her mark everywhere. So if pretty much, I'm gonna draw a picture and pretty much say promoter John C. said, hey, Ty, I'm hearing about Amy Crimson. Should I bring her into my promotion? Now, if the promoter John C. that's made up asked me that, what should I tell him and why he should bring in or she should bring in Amy Crimson to their promotion?
Why? It's because like this is what I love, basically. So it's like you know that if I put on a show, I'm gonna do the best show I could possibly do, the best match. Like everything I do, I want to try and do to perfection. So it's like I don't want to do some half. Am I allowed to say ass? Half ass.
Okay,
Like
oh, yeah, go
I
for
don't.
it.
I don't want to basically do some half ass match where people are gonna look back on and be like, "Oh, this Amy Crimson chick, she's not as good as everyone says she is." I want to basically be like when somebody looks at my matches, when somebody like that books me for a show, I want them to make sure that they want to try and book me back because I want to basically leave a lasting impression that I'm one of the best women for this industry kind of thing, and that whatever hype I have or whatever name I have or make for myself, they know, oh, okay, this Amy Crimson girl or woman, yeah, she's actually that worth the hype that people say she is. So that's why I feel like any promoter should book me because I'm gonna give them the best match and like 100% of my time and effort and just make sure that I'm one of the best wrestlers that they book on the show.
I'm actually swinging about that. I actually like that. Got me a little pumped up here tonight on the show. Now, Amy, of course, on the show. I got to put my guest on the spot every time. This segment, I call it Damn Ty. That is good. Like, whoa, you just blew my mind. Now, this question is like, you really got to put the thinking cap on. You ready to hear it?
Sure.
Okay, now, Battle Arts Academy, they're getting ready for their first ever pay per view, about to put the world on the map and everything in the wrestling world. So they need a name, and they go to Amy Crimson to name the pay per view. Now they want to call the pay per view a name using the word Crimson in it. What would you tell them to call the pay per view using that?
Hmm. That's a good one. I would think so. Crimson. I would just name it Crimson, to be honest.
Yeah,
It's just it's so easy and remember, like you can remember it. It's just Crimson, and it could mean a dark pay-per-view or it could just mean something else. It's just mysterious and you just leave it at that. I wouldn't add anything else. I just feel like Crimson just speaks for itself, to be honest.
I picture the pay per view pretty much, and I'm a curse to it. Motherfuckers getting busted open. So but that works. I could just like it's like Battle Arts Academy and just wait for it. Crimson. It's just boom, like that. So now, Amy, we definitely getting close to the end of the episode of Off the Top Rope. Now, I want to ask you the biggest question of all, from 1 to 10. Would you ever come back on the show again and party it up with your boy Ty Asbury?
Of course. Why wouldn't I?
I definitely I really appreciate that, and I definitely want to know all your fans worldwide. Everybody wants to know. There's only one Amy Crimson. What's up next for you? Who are you gonna be leaving the mark on next? What's up
Um,
next for you?
for now, I'm basically working on getting back into the ring and basically trying to get my return back on track. But honestly, hopefully you guys can see me at Battle Arts Academy. Hopefully I can be posting matches very soon. And as well, hopefully maybe on the indies in the States and possibly in Japan and Europe, hopefully in a year or so. Hopefully I can get my name out other than in Canada. And yeah, hopefully you guys can see me back in the rings very soon. That would be cool. And that would be awesome.
Well, when you think of somebody rising to the top, she's leaving her mark in wrestling. She brings the crimson to everywhere she goes. Who she steps in the ring with, don't matter who it is. The one and only, my guest tonight, Battle Arts Academy, Amy Crimson. Amy, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show tonight. It was an honor.
Thank you. Honestly, the fact that people say that's an honor, it means the world to me because, like, it just means that, like, I'm making a mark on the industry, and that's all I ever wanted to do as a kid. So I've always wanted to do this since I was 8. So the fact that you're saying it's an honor for me to be on your podcast, it means so much.
Well, definitely for me, keep leaving your mark on wrestling. Don't look behind, look forward, do what you do. But the most important thing I always say, stay healthy and be safe. And you're always welcome back on Off the Top Rope. And with your boy Ty Asbury, partied up again.
Awesome. Can't wait.
This is your boy Ty Asbury. Thank you very much for watching this live episode of Off the Top Rope for your Wednesday night. Me, Amy Crimson, we left our mark. We're out of here. God bless. Peace out. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to watch the best wrestling podcast around with some sizzle, it is Off the Top Rope. Yeah. This is your boy Ty Asbury from Off the Top Rope, and of course Fight TV partners with the Ropes Media. I'm definitely trying to put them onto the mat. If you missed this past Saturday night's AEW Full Gear, make sure you go back and watch the replay on Fight TV. You missed an incredible main event between Hangman Adam Page, Kenny Omega, and plus you had, of course, the AEW World Title Tournament and much, much more. Go back and watch the replay of AEW Full Gear from Fight TV.